Okay, in this video we're going to talk about ratios. And by definition, a ratio is how much of one thing there is compared to another thing. And there are three ways to write a ratio. You can write it as like 3 to 1 with the word 2, or you can use a colon and write it 3 to 1, or you can write it as a fraction. There's also three types of ratios you need to know about. First one is whole to part, where you might be comparing something like total students to students who buy lunch. So a whole group of something to part of a group. Then there's part to part ratios, where you have the wheels on a car to the wheels on a bus. Part of something to another part of something. Then there's part to whole. For example, the number of hippos at the zoo to the total number of animals at the zoo. So part of something to the whole number of something. So these are just two things that we do when we talk about ratios. So let's do some examples with ratios. So let's write the ratio for each of the following. Do the ratio of hearts to stars. We would count number of hearts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, over the number of stars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have a ratio of 7 over 14. So a ratio is simply a fraction, but then we have to write it in simplest form. So 7 over 14 simplifies to be 1/2. Okay, so this one wants the ratio of triangles to circles. And whenever you're writing a ratio, whichever word comes first, that's the number that's coming first, or if it's a fraction on top. So triangles, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. To circles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So once again, our ratio is 1/2. Didn't actually mean to do that. All right, so in this one we want A's to B's. So 1, 2, 3, 4. B's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 4/5. So if you're writing a ratio, you're simply comparing two amounts, one amount to another amount. So here's a couple more examples. This time we're telling what type of ratio they are. Whole to part to part, or part to whole. So this one we're talking about shoes on sale compared to all shoes in the store. Well, all shoes in the store, that's going to be a whole. Shoes on sale, that's going to be part. Shoes on sale represents just part of the total number of shoes in the store, which is the whole. Fingers to toes. So if we're comparing fingers to toes, both of those are parts of your body. So that would be part to part. Okay? So these are some examples of how we deal with ratios, both by comparing with numbers and then by comparing the types of ratios. So another thing that we talk about when we talk about ratio are rates, or unit rates. And unit rates and rates are very simple. It's just a fixed price or a fixed quantity. That's what a unit rate is. And the difference between a unit rate or a rate and a ratio is that a ratio is written as a fraction or as comparing something to another. But a unit rate or a rate is written as a single number. So to get it, you would set up your ratio and then you would actually divide your two numbers so that you get a fixed quantity. In most cases, you're going to divide it to get the cost of a single quantity, and then you, depending on the problem, might have to multiply it by however many you want. So let's look at this example. If 2 tickets cost $10.20, find the cost of 9 tickets. So I would set up my ratio. We would have 1020 over 2. That's my ratio. We have 1020 for 2, which means that we have $5.10 for 1, or $5.10 for 1. This would be my rate. 510 equals my rate. Now, second part of this is find the cost of 9 tickets. So to find the cost of 9 tickets, I'm going to multiply 510 by 9. So 9 times 0 is 0. 9. Okay. So 9 tickets would cost $45.90. So I not only used my unit rate, I found my unit rate of $5.10 per ticket. That's what a unit rate is. I then used it to find out how much 9 tickets cost. So that's what a rate is. A rate is finding out how much it costs per unit. And then in this case, we used it to find something else.